Namaste, beautiful yogis. I'm here with a little chat connecting with your video. Someone asked on my morning routine video this question, and I thought it's a really good question. Thank you for the question. It was, how has your practice changed in relation to aging? So I'm gonna change up a little bit the title and be aging and motherhood. How aging and motherhood has affected my practice. Something that we can all connect and relate on, and a little bit of inspiration. It's not gonna be a lot of complaining, just heads up. And I'll try to be a little more on the inspiring side, uplifting, motivational side. So I have to say that, of course, our practice changes through the years continuously. It evolves. If it's not evolving, if it's not changing, it's one of two possibilities. The first one is, this is your personality. You just like a steady routine. Maybe you have Taurus in the 6th house, Taurus something, and you're just really particular about your routine, which is nothing wrong with that, or you're stuck. One of the two. You're either not stuck, you like this type of routine, or you're stuck. So for the most part, our practice will change in either direction. It may not even change for better or good, it just evolves. As you know, my own teaching has evolved quite a lot through the years. Everything is continuously changing, so is my own personal energy and practice. When the first time I noticed a change in my actual energy levels was after I gave birth. Now, during pregnancy, I took it easy when I had to take it easy. I had extra energy, but it wasn't that explosive energy. It was a little more continuous, I want to rip out of my skin type of energy. And after I gave birth, due to breastfeeding, my energy was a little lower, and I was perfectly fine with that. I even thought that it will never come back up again. Maybe I combined aging with motherhood, because I turned this year, just recently, 2 months ago, 41. So I gave birth at 37, close to my 40s. Maybe those two things kind of combined. I thought that maybe I will cool it down a little, my practice, and I was fine with that. I was even telling my brother after I first gave birth, I mean, I will not be always the interval yoga teacher, the power yoga teacher. I'm actually looking forward to evolving in different categories, but I'm not there yet. I'm still feeling the strength, and the first time I didn't feel that explosive strength. I could do things, but then it felt depleting, was when I was breastfeeding. The first 2 years of breastfeeding, I just didn't want to do a lot of exertion. I did still strong classes, especially compared to most other yoga styles. They were still stronger than most other classes you'll find, but not as strong as I'm used to, my personal energy. And that was due to breastfeeding, not aging, because now that I'm finishing breastfeeding, we took a really long time to slowly and naturally wean off, and I think we just finished breastfeeding, which is quite a while of breastfeeding, but it felt absolutely natural. So no shame about it if you're a little longer of a breastfeeder as we are. People just tend to feel shame about everything, about not breastfeeding, about breastfeeding too long. It's just, we have to just, shake it off of us and just do our thing. During breastfeeding, of course, your energy goes to milk production, and your hormones are different. Less testosterone, less estrogen, more prolactin. So you just, things are gonna be a little different. Your body will feel a little different. Mine did. And I just listened to my body. There wasn't anything in my head that I needed to achieve. It was just listening to my body and doing whatever my body wanted me to do. So now that I'm finishing breastfeeding, I think we finished. We haven't breastfed in a week, I think. And it was really, really progressively decreasing to where it was just in the morning for 3-4 months, and just for very brief. But it was something that emotionally the child needs, or my baby needed, my toddler. So now that it is finished, my energy pretty much feels the same. There are certain flexibility things that I'm still not doing the same as pre-pregnancy, because pregnancy makes you very ligaments very lax, so it's a little more dangerous. And I still feel that my pelvis is a little different from pre-pregnancy, just because of the whole traumatic event that happened, but a lot of the other stuff is exactly healed, fully healed, and kind of feels as my usual body. So I think that, as I said, this is going to be a little more inspirational than complaining about aging. I feel that due to the vegan diet, I try not to promote it too much, because there's always such a big learning curve and you can make so many mistakes along the way, but the end goal is really worth it, because I feel due to it, I did not have the terrible hormone fluctuations during pregnancy, and definitely not in the postpartum period, when a lot of women are prone to depression. I used the hormones. I didn't have the extra animal hormones, so I used the hormones to feel like really probably the happiest I've ever been. The pregnancy and the first 9 months after the postpartum, so 9 months of pregnancy and 9 months of postpartum, was just as close to feeling the divine energy as I possibly can. So there is a little bit of a flexibility restraint, and even maybe less flexibility that I have, but that is due to less practice. So aging mixed with motherhood, it's hard to tell which is which, because I did them together, turning 40 and being in my postpartum period. The energy is about the same right now, so if you continuously continue practicing, your practice will change for sure. It will evolve. You might go from more power yoga classes, which I have hundreds of, to more fluid classes, which I have hundreds of. You can evolve it and shift it and change it and favor certain classes more over other classes. But at the same time, if you continue, your body will keep adapting and being the best version of its own self, because ultimately we want to feel the best we can feel in our body, so we don't think about it much. When I'm in my balanced place of where I feel the most in balance, in harmony, the healthiest, then I just don't have thoughts about my body. Obviously, when I have afflictions, if something hurts, then I'm thinking about my body. So working on the body a little more ironically leads to just focusing on other things in life a little more. So I do feel that due to the vegan diet, and I continuously practiced. If I had to really do mellow practices, I shared them along the way. Thank goodness that I did. All my postpartum classes were very mellow. They're not just for postpartum women. You can do them at any time in your life, a little more mellow. I did more mellow practice. I did whatever I wanted or needed to do, but I continued. So I did have a dip of energy where I didn't feel that I can exert massive amount of jumping and stuff during a lot of the breastfeeding stages. But now that I'm finishing and done breastfeeding, I feel about as energetic as before. You can comment and tell me. I mean, there has been quite a few strong classes on the membership, as strong as ever. So I think they've been pretty strong. I do expect a slow decline, and I'll just adjust with it, because I've been always teaching you that, and that is something I practice what I preach in that particular area. I don't push beyond my limits. If something feels good, I do it. If it doesn't, I back off. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not trying to prove anything to myself or others. There's no need for me to exert too much energy if it doesn't feel right. And that applies to absolutely everybody. Just don't push beyond the comfortable limit. If you are doing yoga with me, you're probably a little bit of an energy person, right? So we're already doing quite a bit. So if something feels like exertion, that's where you stop. You stop there. That's it. I made lemon balm tea from my garden. Let's not spill it as I usually do with the camera. And as I said, this is going to be a little bit motivational. So because of my vegan diet, and it's not super perfect, it's not always 100% raw or anything like that. I've been eating a lot of potatoes since I moved to Austin. Ugh, huge deer outside, which means we can't plant anything outside because they eat it. But since I eat a whole food plant-based diet that is comparatively, I should say, low in fat, but it's exactly as much fat as I need. I'm not low on fat. I've never had dry skin, neither oily. So it's just enough fat for my needs, but not for me to be getting too much grease and oil and fat. So since practicing that diet, I feel that my hormones regulate more easily. No cramps, no mood swings. I can be emotional about certain things, but that's a different story, and that's a part of being human. So overall, my practice is really strong. I actually have to say that in certain important ways, it has improved dramatically. And again, is it aging? Is it motherhood? It's probably both. But now I'm more steady. Before, I used to have this more like madness of energy and days with a lot of relaxation. I have a strong 12th house, so I'm not one of those people that are A personalities and go every day, overachiever, real energetic. No, I'm pretty chill. I have energy, but I'm also very chill. I'm not one of those people that just goes all day long. I rest a lot. So for me, what's happened is those spikes of energy have become pretty much every day the same level. So that could be a part of aging, and also a big part of being a parent and having responsibilities and having a very little time to myself or for shooting. So I better get it done. So it has created in me more steadiness. Also, it could be the new location. I really love Texas, and every place for me has a different energy. As far as aging and inflammation, I would say that 10 months out of the year, I have zero inflammation. I've even measured it with blood tests, and it was as low as it can be. And it was the C-reactive protein test and some other factors. So, and then if I get overly stressed out, or if I eat a lot of cacao powder or chocolate, or if we're moving, then I would actually go through something. Yeah, I've shared, I had bronchitis when we were moving house, and it was from the intense stress. I was externally kind of okay, stressed out, but okay. But it was, 10 years of life. We had to move over to another state, and I am an emotional person, so I was emotional about probably the chapter ending and the whole 30s ending, and it's just a lot of things were ending. So I had inflammation, then I healed it. If I get stressed out, it always coincides with traveling. I'm not your traveler. I have to travel because I live away from home. I live far from Bulgaria, but and that's why I always have to travel. And then if I go to teach somewhere in Germany, in other countries, and I did all of Europe for the last few years, Finland and Sweden and Russia, and we just traveled a lot through the summer for teaching, and sometimes for visiting friends and visiting my family. So usually before that, I may experience something, just kind of like not a dip of energy, but just a little bit of inflammation or something like this, like an internal shedding of viral or exosomes or whatever that is. But overall, 10 months out of the year, I feel absolutely, in many ways, better than in my 30s, and in many ways better than in my 20s, because I had it quite intense around 27. I think we lived in a place, I think it was 27. We lived in a place with through the roof, flat level mold, but it was under the foundation or under the house. So that really messed with my health, and it took me about 3-4 years to really heal completely, again with that vegan whole foods, mostly fruit diet, and lots of greens and other things, always herbs, and just I'm quite a foodie. Even though you think my diet is boring, because who gets excited about apples, but at the same time I'm a foodie. I know how to savor things, how to explore, how to find excitement about nature. So I was saying I had it quite intense in those years, lots of inflammation pretty much in every joint I had, and was beyond anything I can describe. So now I have it way better. As I said, 10 months out of the year, zero inflammation. Then if I'm to travel or something, even though I'm a yoga teacher, and that's why I'm a yoga person or a yoga instructor, because I myself obviously needed it in the first place to just keep myself calm. And it's a continuous work. I don't think none of us is guaranteed that we are always gonna have a full control over every situation and just be some serene person on the mountaintop that nothing touches us. No, it's a continuous work, and I accept that about myself and about others. None of us are going to be perfect or just always acting from the highest place we can. We're oftentimes going to be human. We're oftentimes going to react in certain ways to life and to challenges. So in those periods, I may experience some inflammation. Usually I really resonate, even before the medical medium, with that whole concept of when you're under stress, your viral load comes out, the internal viral load. We all have a lot of it. So that can inflame certain parts of your body. As long as it's a moving inflammation, you understand that it's not a stuck condition, not a chronic condition. So I can go through certain things, as I mentioned, but overall I think my energy has improved, has been more steady. I can pretty much do quite a strong class every single day. If I have to take a break, I will. Some weeks I don't, some weeks I do. I just go with my energy. I can go for 10 days and be able to have strong energy, and then I might have 4 days when I don't feel like doing stuff, and I just listen to that. But when I can work, I do. And if I have to take time off, I do the other work. There is always work, as you know. If you want to work, there is always things to do. And that is it. I mean, it wasn't super inspiring and motivation, because I just don't want to, like, be too much in your face, like, yes, do yoga and, eat whole foods and you're gonna rock it. But that is kind of the truth. If we all really, really clean up our diet and eat whole foods, we're gonna feel amazing. And I must say that even after motherhood, I didn't know how my menstruation, my monthly period will be, but it's pretty seamless. No cramps, not feeling anything before the days coming up, leading up. Some emotionality sometimes comes throughout the month, but I don't know if it's related to the phases of the moon, or it's usually things that are actually challenges I have to face in life, such as not going to Bulgaria this year, not being able to see my parents. And that is one of my own personal challenges in life, and sadness, or sources of things that I have to emotionally work through. And if you want me to be a little more exuberant, I can, and I just don't want to rub it in your face that you should, feel amazing, because, the fact of the matter is that one day we are going to decline, and that is perfectly fine. I was even telling that to my brother when I think I was like 6 months postpartum, and my energy was, I couldn't do those big jumping classes that are my style, and I was telling him, I'll be just a different yoga teacher. And he was like, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I'm looking forward to be a yoga teacher, but I'm not there yet. I feel the energy. I'm just, I can just destroy the yoga mat space, but it will happen, and whenever it happens, it will happen. But I think all we can do is just really clean up our diet, and not only take the crap out of the diet, but also add herbs, add sprouts, add more fruit, add dates. So far I feel great on potatoes. They're not raw, but I feel great. If I get a cold or a flu or something, stuff that I haven't had in 20 years, then I'll reconsider the potatoes, because there is all this information about starches being more mucus forming. So I am reserving the right to change my mind on things, and to continue experimenting. For now, I feel great, balanced, really grounded, with eating a lot of potatoes and a lot of dates. A really good amount, 2,500 calories, as I always tell you. Because that's how we get energy. Sometimes you are lacking energy because you might be eating too low of calories, or not enough carbs, or something like that. Not enough water. This is a divine lemon balm tea. This is something the medical medium and Bulgarian herbal folk are big on, because it's an antiviral. I have been learning and listening a lot to all the sources that talk about the terrain theory versus the germ theory, and how a lot of, as you know, I mean, there can be a sickness going around and one person won't get it. What is the difference? And it's always the terrain. If a person has a really strong system, really cleaned out gut, then the frequencies, even the intestinal organisms are at higher frequencies, so that's either bacteria or whatever comes out, fungus or whatever parasite comes from the outside, can't stick, because the frequencies are higher than the frequencies of that organism. So we always have to focus on the terrain and not so much think that we're going to catch something from outside. And I was listening to a really good talk about disease and the true causes of disease by John Ross, and something he said was so powerful. He said, anything that takes your responsibility away from you, reconsider it. Think, and again think, and re-examine it. Look at it from many different places, because anything that victimizes us, we're just the victim and things just come at us. Think again, empower yourself, be really a person that takes responsibility, because that will make you stronger. I really truly believe in that. Even if things are just karmic and it feels like things are coming our way and we were just, you know, how can, like, poor us, re-examine it, take your power back, because that's the only way you can change things. And another thing, I think, even through, this is not something that aging has taught me. I think I was kind of that way since teenagehood, but humility. Just think of yourself as important as everybody else, because the whole inflated sense of importance is where all of the suffering happens. Thinking, because when you think that, reality doesn't match up to it, because that's not the truth of the world. So we're bound to continuously suffer, because we're having this disharmony between what we believe and what it is. But when we think in ways of humility, when we see that we are all important and equally important, and we're all one vibrating heart equally, having the capacity to connect to the divine, then we're more in harmony with the truth, with reality, with the world, with existence. So that's another piece of advice. Aging or not aging, motherhood or no motherhood, just something that we can always come back and connect to. The other one is a friend sent me this song yesterday. Look it up. It's Tracy Chapman. All that you have is your soul. Ah, so good, so good. It's really, sometimes when the world comes, you know, crumbling down at the personal or society as a whole, we have to realize that all that we have is our soul, and that is a beautiful thing. Because this life is temporary. We are gonna all decline, and just aches and pains, and things are gonna start dysfunctioning. Hopefully when we're 89 or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We're still connecting, hopefully for many years. We'll age together. Young people will join me. But hopefully we'll be strong and powerful and better for a long time, because I do feel better in so many ways. Maybe some things are getting worse, of course, some things, wrinkles, right? My face is not as cute, but I feel better. My body feels better. My energy levels are better. Even my inflammation is lower, but that is due to the circumstances with the mold. And again, this is something I had to work on, to not be a victim, because I didn't know. But at the same time, it is something that in some ways was there to serve me, right? I'd rather consider it a lesson and a teacher and an experience, and something that in some ways I chose, and then I regret, right? Then I think that I was victimized about. And this is what yoga teaches us, to really work through our shit. Excuse my English? That's English. But to really work through our shit and own it, because it's really easy to regret things and to just feel bad about things. And even if we do, it's okay, but we just have to continue working and improving and staying connected to the truth of the world, that we're continuously growing and nothing is ever lost of value. Nothing of value is ever lost. If you've ever loved someone truly deeply and you think that you've lost them to whatever reason, it's never lost. This is the energy still there. You are continuously going to be with those people through lives and through existences. So with aging, I just honestly wanted to not be over the top excited about it, but it is not bad. It is good. It is getting better in many ways, and not forever, because we have to die. That is part of. I'll finish with this and I'll go, because this is starting to be a little kind of like a all over the place, as I usually do those unless I have the notes. But when I was pregnant and I got to be 8 months pregnant and my belly was getting quite big and the baby was very big, and I realized, oh my God, there is no way out of this one. This is when you get to a place where there's no way out. The baby has to come one way or another. That is gonna be traumatic, kind of like a small death. Birth and death are the same things. So the same energy. It's the cycle. So has to come out, either vaginal birth or cesarean birth, but it has to come out in some birth is a very violent event. However people want to describe it, it's very ripping and violent, because that's how birth and death are. So that's how life is. In order for us to exit this place, which we have to, we're going to realize, oh, we're going to have to go through that. Same with pregnancy. Once you get to a certain level, there is no way out unless you do it. You can't back out. You can't avoid it. You can't, there's like, you got to continue forward, and it's going to be that thing. And same with life. We're going to have to just continuously work on that and understand it. I think it's one of the biggest motivators for people to feel fear and to be manipulated, is the fear of death. And as long as we're so deathly afraid of death, we're easily manipulated and we're not living fully. And we have to continuously work through it, I think, with yoga, mindfulness, and just the philosophical connection, understanding of life, that yes, we want to live a nice and beautiful and balanced and harmonious and centered and grounded and connected and heart expanding long life. But at the same time, we have to also accept the fact that this is only the soul is eternal, and the body is going to have to decline, and we're okay with that. We'll take good care of it. We'll keep it in high frequencies so that higher thoughts can come through. And as you know, I like to contemplate and feel spiritual things in my life, but that doesn't mean that my personality is very spiritual. I can be abrasive, I can be harsh, I can be a normal human being. Just because I feel a certain spiritual connection, that doesn't mean that in every moment you see me, I'll be one of those. I personally perceive them as passive-aggressive LA yogi gurus, because there was an element of inauthenticity there. But no, just feeling that spiritual connection within and honoring the person that you are without, honoring the personality that you have. As long as you're not hurting anybody's feelings, you can be okay with your personality. You don't have to struggle with your personality. You can use it as your advantages, because each personality has its strong points, and those are your blessings. Anyways, enough. Thank you for joining me. I hope this in any way was inspiring. Grow, continue to cleanse the body, get it stronger, grow with me, and also be okay with things changing. Namaste.